Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We are starting a session dealing with food security. It's one of the priorities in the context of the pandemic. I would like to present our panelists, Alexei Burkov, our Moscow farmer, who has been working in the city for a long time. He has a large farm, and he will update you on the challenges he had to face when we were caught by the pandemic. Dmitry Moskalenko, first deputy CEO of AND Corporation, and also president of the Russian Council of Shopping Centers. We also have Sergei Belyakov, managing director, Ozon. Ruslan Ismailov, joining us online, Deputy CEO of Magnet Retail Chain, and Volker Schaar, who is Managing Director of Globus Holding. Before we start, I would like to say that last year, Moscow, the whole world, faced a global pandemic challenge. The goal was all the processes which existed in the past, all the delivery chains, they had to be sustained, supported. I think we did a good job. Clearly, all stakeholders, namely retail chains and suppliers, our colleagues from the wholesale segment, farmers, they had to deal with the consequences. We set up monitoring of certain groups of products. Every morning we would get connected with people, set priorities, and by the end of the day, we hope to have all these issues resolved. So, the main product categories, the supply was ongoing. We had monitoring over prices, the practices introduced in Moscow. We shared them with our colleagues from other regions at their request. Despite the pandemic, restaurants were faring well. They were closed last year, but still we made it possible for them to stay open, and Sergei will speak about it. There was an explosion in online delivery segment, and the number of deliveries grew manyfold within a very short time frame, March, April. So restaurants were not only delivering food, they were feeding our healthcare professionals. We subsidized them to this end. And so the support measures provided by Moscow last year, since the beginning of the pandemic, are still being offered. They're unprecedented, but we'll touch on that later. The first speaker is Alexei Burkov, our farmer. He will tell you about the changes that he saw in his life with the advent of the pandemic. Thank you. I would like to speak about how farmers responded to the pandemic. I'm a small-scale farmer, not far away from Moscow. It's a larger Moscow area. And when the pandemic broke out, there were serious. It threw everybody's life off balance, including farmers' lives. We witnessed an outflow of shoppers, buyers from the orthodox channels of such as the open-air fairs, markets, open-air markets. This channel did not die out completely. It was supported, but still there was a drop in sales. Why? Because people were keen to stay home. They didn't want to visit public places, but still they needed food. So it led to a dramatic increase in deliveries requests. We deliver products in the southwestern part of Moscow. We're a small farm, so we cannot travel far. Alexei Alexeyevich, he called us a big farm. We have only 80 head of cattle, not thousands. So there was a sharp increase in demand for delivery services. We tried to meet that demand. Also sharp increase in demand for farm visits. Because when people are cooped up in their apartments, it's very difficult for them. And when they go to a farm, people don't meet other people. They can find their corner, to take a walk, to look at the farm animals, pet farm animals, etc. And we provided this opportunity to people, and it was a way for them to get out of the apartments. The pandemic made all of us think harder, including the farmers. And we came up with the following thing. We shouldn't deliver directly to households, but rather to a refrigerator, so-called refrigerator. And we implemented that idea. So what do people want? First of all, as little contact as possible, including food delivery people. Instead of waiting for a courier to come, people want to receive their order when they want and where they want. Also, direct contact with a farmer, with a producer, is very important. So it makes a transaction individual and unique, not something standard and faceless. And naturally, high-quality products that they receive. So from a farmer standpoint, what matters to a farmer? To have a smooth logistics, steady flow of clients, and an ability to communicate with clients in an online format. So direct contact with clients. So following this small project, we set up refrigerators at 11 multi-apartment housing blocks, and this could evolve into a global system, a major system for foodstuff delivery. It's not interesting to have 10 refrigerators. Of course, it does help me as a farmer, but there should be thousands and tens of thousands of refrigerators in every entrance to every apartment block. And then, based on a logistics network, we can get farmers involved, get them on board. They can package their produce or products in standard boxes, deliver them to a reception point, and then at night, when there's no traffic, those products can be delivered to respective refrigerators. When a client needs, he can just go down to the first floor, uses QR code, open the refrigerator, his bank account is debited, he picks up his order, goes back to the apartment. Indeed, it's not really my format, because there should be a system in place. And I think that stakeholders would support a small-time farmer, and maybe this would evolve into a major system. It would give an impetus to the quality product delivery system, connecting farmers with users, with consumers, and it would be convenient to people. Our practice shows that we brought boxes, put them in refrigerators, a client comes in, scans his QR code, the refrigerator opens, a person picks up a box, and that's it. His, certain amount is withdrawn from his bank account. It's very user-friendly. So in the southwestern part of Moscow, we set up 11 refrigerator points, and that's a pilot project. Thank you very much. Thank you. My understanding is that this project probably will have a follow-up, and Sergei will speak. They're slightly bigger than you are. Speaking about open-air markets and fairs, we have been developing this format for a long time. Does this format help you in your activities? Open-air markets, fairs, is an interesting channel, an interesting format. It allows farmers to communicate directly with buyers, bypassing intermediaries. Indeed, this format can be developed further. Some new types can be introduced depending on the success of different cases. But I think it has a lot of potential. It allows farmers, gives farmers a chance, and it's very convenient to end customers. Thank you. I would like now to ask Dmitry Moskalenko. Last year, as we were exiting the lockdown, and the first people we spoke to were retail chains, and the safety protocols, we worked them out together with the business community, with the Russian healthcare watchdog, Rospotrebnadzor, trying to ensure utmost safety of shoppers in shopping centers, in retail stores. Yes, you're right. As practice has shown, shopping centers, after healthcare centers and hospitals, turn out to be the most well-prepared and well-equipped to deal with COVID-19, and in terms of the number of safety measures and safeguards that were put in place. We have statistics in Moscow region, showing that the reopening of shopping centers did not in any way affect the infection rate dynamics. But if we look at the initial stage of the lockdown, we were closed down, and we closed down our shops, and thanks to our colleagues, we did our best to comply with the new requirements, because a closed shopping center is basically a warehouse, a big warehouse, and we could sell foodstuffs, telecommunication services, and pharmacies were also open. And we continued retail trade in those groups of those categories of goods, so that people living nearby could purchase those goods and services. We set up new air purification systems, antiseptic gels and liquids, all those safeguards and measures which had never been used before. Since a closed shopping center is just a warehouse, it was turned into an order delivery center. And so the people needed to pick up their orders despite of the lockdown conditions. So during the lockdown, we, meaning retail chains, we fared well. We met the test with flying colors. I'd like to thank my colleagues for that. Some new ideas emerged while we were implementing all those measures as a result of our joint work. Some ideas were obvious, nothing new. But once lockdown was over and gradual reopening began, we had, because not everybody was wearing masks and gloves, we had to set up stations for dispensing masks and gloves. We had to mark the floors. We had to put up information boards about COVID-19 measures. That's what we deployed. Then, since the arrival of the vaccine, we set up vaccination points, vaccination stations, and there still exist in shopping centers, and soon I'm sure we're going to have vaccination booster centers or stations. And we were managing shoppers' flows. We changed the layout, since we had to dedicate certain areas to COVID-19 measures. And then, either thanks to the pandemic or in spite of the pandemic, we realized the need for some conceptual transformation of trading centers, shopping centers. And the ideas that came to me, I would like to share them with you. The global risk, including the pandemic, and I think these risks will be reflected in return on investment models going forward, because 2021, we don't view it as a standalone year. We view it as a continuation of 2020 for obvious reasons, because we have grounds for that. Clearly, in 2020, after the lockdown, there was a gradual return of shoppers to shopping centers. Competition intensified, which had a positive effect on end buyers, because shopping centers, they had to fight for the loyalty of their customers, to develop communication. And of course, that benefits buyers, that benefits consumers. That's the way the market operates. The changes that we've seen, there's a trend that shopping centers will evolve more towards entertainment centers in order to boost the loyalty. That shopping centers will become more gamified. That probably they will be paying more attention to social networks popular among the young people and the social network-driven activities. And Sergei will speak more about it, but I think that distinction between online and offline will be in terms of convenience and positive experience, positive shopping experience. So where does this watershed lie? I think it depends on the people, but most likely we're going to see these changes in shopping centers before too long. What are our plans post-pandemic? I think it's a bit too premature to speak about the post-pandemic period because we're still living the pandemic. But certain trends are transpiring as it is. We believe that there will be an expansion of commercial space towards a public gallery. Probably there will be commercialization of those public spaces, a streamlining of flows. We are witnessing it in real time now, looking at catering and looking at the catering companies and the food court companies, food court operators, development of local brands. Since the logistic chains were disrupted, some new productions sprang up as a result. So we might see more local brands, and we believe there will be a target-based distribution of space within shopping centers. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to address Sergei Belikov. I'm thankful to you because during the previous year, when you had a different position, we worked closely together, and without his assistance, we would not be able to tackle different issues of concern. And now Sergei is the head of a serious company dealing the online trading. Thank you. All right, I received quite a lot of questions, and I have 10 minutes for my presentation, and I will try to stick to the time frame. I had a question about the changes of delivery structure from the point of view of categories of products we deliver. Of course, I'm speaking about e-commerce now, and the figures are quite astonishing. So food is a unique category. And it's unique because if citizens were used to shop online, food was in the last place because they wanted to have a look at it, to check the properties, to touch it, to see it, and so on. And those habits are hard to be changed. We believed so, but we found out that actually you can change them quickly. 240% was the growth of Ozon company, but the figure is relevant also for other company working in the same sector. Food for children, 175, milk 340%, and so on. The growth is huge. We see that the culture of shopping has changed. The new trends have been formed, and it's not about the future. This is something that already happened yesterday, and now we still feel the effect of e-commerce. What is the difference of online and offline shopping? I believe that I'm not an expert, but it's a service, and every service has two main characteristics. First, we don't have any facilities. We don't own the facilities, and we don't have to maintain them the way retail offline companies have to do it, and we do not have people who actually sell. It's not good and it's not bad, it's just a different kind of activity. In some cases, people go to shopping malls to communicate, to spend time, and they completely agree with the set of challenges that shopping malls face. And in some cases, they don't want to go anywhere. They're just used to stay home and to spend time for other activities. Consumers are different, and it's great that now they have choice. E-commerce has a small share of our turnover. In 2020, it was 8%. Before, it was 6.7%, and the growth in 2020 allowed us to go from 6.7 to 8%. In the US, in Canada, in Asia, there the share of e-commerce is 20%. You can see our vector of growth and the figures which we can reach. Well, if we grow by 27% year on year, and that is possible, and we will increase the online share of our turnover. It means that it's more than 8 trillion rubles of turnover. Such speed of growth will change the structure of offline and online dramatically. And online will account not for 8 but for 18%, so close to 20. That is important, and I will tell you why. It's an indicator of how retail of the future will look like. A lot of compliments were made to trade, people and restaurants. Let's speak about people. People who were engaged in that activity. We felt really difficult financial effects from lockdown and pandemics, but people managed to satisfy the demands of consumers, federal authorities and local authorities. Companies managed to overcome all the hardships and restrictions and provide necessary services to clients, citizens, and patients who needed medical services. I would like to express my gratitude to the government of Moscow. You use the word e-commerce, and I would like to use another word, e-government. The Moscow government fulfilled its functions so quickly and gave fast reactions to the challenges of the business. It doesn't mean that all the challenges were tackled and all the restrictions were destroyed, but they tried to act fast, efficiently. They spent less time negotiating and discussing things and more time taking decisions, and that allowed us to overcome all the hardships in a more efficient way. And of course we learned a lot of lessons in 2020. They made the procedure of permission received easier. They worked on the restrictions related to pandemics. And e-commerce is about the speed of delivery and logistics. We are a convenient format for inhabitants of the city and for the city in general. We have reached the so-called golden standard in Moscow and other larger agglomerations when we deliver on the same day. So the client orders and we deliver on the same day. And when we speak about food, we have to satisfy the needs of restaurateurs and to satisfy the needs of final consumers. It's not about days, it's about minutes. The next challenge is to go from order and delivery on the same day to order and delivery within 15 minutes. Now, can you imagine what kind of infrastructure you need for that? Transportation vehicles, points of order fulfillment, then necessary instruments, taking into account that the concentration of people is different in different districts, and it's good that at the market of e-commerce we have fair and healthy competition. There are not so many companies, but the competition is so tough that clients can get fast and high-quality service without alternatives. This is what I like to say. We're a good instrument for the development of urban policy and city development. We are also an instrument for the development of small and medium enterprises, for business in general. But the main client, or I would rather say the best partner of Amazon is small and medium enterprise when they can bring the products to our showcase and cut the costs related to the promotion of goods, choose the services and get access with the help of us to the consumers, and not only in the region of presence but in different regions of Russia. So it's all about expert potential. Now I would like to finish my presentation to make the life of our host easier. We would like to express our gratitude to the government of Moscow for their activity, for their work. We have a really good balance between business and government, and they offer good instruments for the improvement of life quality in the city and in the country. Thank you. Thank you. I have a short question. You said that 20% of trade abroad accounts for e-commerce. So when can Moscow come to this figure, according to your estimation? Well, now the e-commerce accounts for 8% in Russia. If you take Moscow, new Moscow, large Moscow, the percentage is higher there. I believe that we are using all the new trends so quickly, and I'm sure that we will get to that figures really quickly. I believe in Moscow it will take us no more than 2 or 3 years to get to 20% of e-commerce. All right, if we need to do it, let's do it together. Thank you. And I would like to give the mic to Ruslan Ismailov, the Deputy Director General of Magnit Company. It's one of the few companies where they always had buckwheat on the shelves, just like other products. Ruslan, how did you manage to do that? Hello. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I don't see my presentation, so I'd like to briefly tell you how we got there and where the trade is going to amidst the pandemics. Magnit is the largest Russian retailer working in more than 4,000 settlements and towns. It has more than 22,000 trade objects. We provide services to more than 12 million clients. We have about 2,000 trade objects in Moscow. During the corona crisis until today, we completely understand our social responsibility for our clients. And thank you very much for your kind words. Magnit managed to overcome the surge of the demand with the help of two main factors. Let me start with the first one. We started to get ready for it beforehand. 2 weeks before the peak indicators, we started to receive deliveries to our distribution centers and storages. We improved our logistics. We took various organizational measures, changed the structure of our trade objects. We simplified a lot of internal processes. And now let's go to the second factor. That was the support of Moscow government, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Ministry of Agriculture. All of them were highly involved in this situation, and that reflected the seriousness of the situation. The demand grew really dramatically and fast. The sales of flour and buckwheat increased by 6 times, pasta by 7 times, sugar by 2.5 times, storages, transportation, shops. 300,000 of our workers worked 24/7. They worked in really hard conditions. We delivered products to the shops several times per day. I mean, the trucks arrived to the trucks several times per day, even during the night. And we managed to overcome that peak successfully. Magnit, as a company, had a significant task to avoid deficit of products on the shelves and to keep the prices for necessary goods. We remember that a number of suppliers increased their prices, but here at Magnit Company we took measures to choose alternative suppliers from small and medium enterprises. In that activity, again, the government of Moscow helped us, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the Ministry of Agriculture, and other agencies. With mutual efforts, we managed to keep the situation under control. In addition to that, we managed to make zero increase of the price for the products which were especially important for the clients. And the pandemics stimulated not only the sales of products, but it also stimulated e-commerce. It's a channel of trade, and it was of course related to the fact that people were afraid to go out of homes. Hundreds of thousands of people tried to order food for the first time in their lives with the delivery to their homes. After the acute phase, they continue to use such service. And even when restrictions are lifted, they continue to use e-commerce. So in spring and summer 2020, we managed to pass the way which we would pass within 2 or 3 years, and we did it within 2 or 3 months. We started a partnership-based delivery service, and then we started to organize deliveries from our own shops. And there are about 200,000 shops from where we deliver products. And we have different formats of deliveries. We have all kinds of partnership for e-commerce. We deliver products not only from supermarkets, hypermarkets, round-the-corner stores, but also from Magnet Cosmetics and Magnet Drug stores. In the first quarter of 2021, we delivered 9,500 orders daily. We see that e-commerce is a large segment of our business. Currently, we manage 5 drugstores, and we are going to have 20 of them till the end of the year. At the beginning of 2022, we will open a large drugstore, which will be working regularly with the deliveries and supplies. So we will build our own system of supplies on the basis of that. So we see good perspectives for the future in this segment. We believe that till the end of 2025, e-commerce will generate not less than 5% of our revenue. COVID-19 changed the demands of people. It changed the approaches to the needs, to the demands. Amidst the restrictions and the threat to get ill, people were highly interested in food that you can cook at home. Many people started to cook at home, especially in Moscow. Up to 60% of people said that they wanted to cook at home. 50% of people said that they started to cook something difficult at home. And delivery of food is not only about the satisfaction of need to eat, but it's also an ability to have a healthier lifestyle. Could you please share your presentation? I think that you can share your presentation because we do not see it. Can you show your screen? Unfortunately, I will not be able to do it now. All right, no problem. I will try to listen and understand what I say. Sure, we'll do it. Okay. So let me continue. When the restrictions were lifted, people continued to cook at home. Pandemics made people think about their health and be attentive to their healthy lifestyle. More than 70% of people now want to have a healthier lifestyle, to stay fit. About 80% of Russian people today say that health for them is top priority in life. All these things lead to better consumption of healthy food. According to the results of 2020, the sales of vegetables and fruit is 2 times higher than the growth of revenue in general. We pay a lot of attention to this factor in the shops, and we organize specific places and shelves, as well as stands where healthy food is sold. We raise awareness among clients, and we tell our suppliers and our clients about healthy food, what you can buy and what you can cook. Pandemics also increased the speed of such trends as demand for local brands. That is demonstrated in the fact that we mostly sell fruit and vegetables from local suppliers. We actively see it not only in Moscow, but in different regions of Russia. It all has an impact on the transformation of retail. I already told you that the habits, the demands of clients change. E-commerce becomes an integral part of everyday life. We see that retail has transformed, and definitely the transformation will continue in the future. It doesn't mean that traditional retail and shops will be closed. No, of course they will continue to exist, but e-commerce, the development of modern technologies, digitalization will lead to a situation when retail will have several channels. Shops will be places for emotions. Shops will cause emotions. I believe that the behavior and behavioral patterns of clients will change. Shops and usual malls and shops will be places for people to spend time, to get emotions, to get information, to learn something new. And at the same time, e-commerce, of course, will develop quickly. E-commerce is not seen by us as a separate format. It's simply something that is an addition to our channels of communication. We want to become an omni-channel type of retailer. We want to operate food and non-food products. We want to use different channels of sales, including digital channels. We hope that in the facilities of Magnet, clients can satisfy their basic needs the way they want it. Currently, we are starting to actively work with products from the farms. We implement projects with the Rossellhausbank and MSP corporations to attract more local products, products from the farms to our shelves. We have a simplified form of the contract with the farmers to make sure that it's easier for the farmers to enter the shops, to get to the shelves. All those things actually create a comprehensive proposal for the clients. Of course, times were hard. We managed to overcome the hardships, and I'm convinced that we will be able to overcome all the hardships and get through all the tests. And the lessons learned will be used for the benefit of the clients. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruslan. One question, if I may. You said that now the number of deliveries has grown to 10,000 by 2025. You're planning that 5% of all your turnover will be e-com driven. How many deliveries are we talking about on a daily basis? Today, there are about 12, 14 million checks. So we can expect that there will be a respective amount of deliveries. So just as part of the chain delivery. Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to give the floor to Volker Schaar, Deputy CEO of Globus. Volker, in your view, what's the difference between your shop's operations in Russia and your stores in the Czech Republic and Germany, and your view on the development of retail trade going forward? I am a CEO of Globus Russia, and it's a pleasure to be able to participate in this event online. I would like to say that if we make this comparison internationally, Russia has responded sufficiently during the pandemic. It was a new situation in all countries, and different countries face different challenges. Comparing different countries today, I can say that retail and business the business here in Russia is most harmonious despite all the difficulties. The most challenges we had in the Czech Republic and Germany, because they went through different peaks, and we were lucky to have the government on our side suppliers. So we managed to make safe arrangements, shopping arrangements for our clients. And a focus was made on the protection of customers and employees. And I can say that in Europe, everything started 1 month ahead of Moscow, so we were slightly prepared, both mentally, and we did everything possible to alleviate risks. I think Globus was the first company in Russia that introduced masks and gloves to our clients, so we reduced contacts among our employees. We checked temperature of all clients, all shoppers. That was the focus of our activities. As you said, Alexei Alexeyevich, it was end of March, early April, we experienced some problems with some products. It didn't last more than 2 weeks, and since April, in principle, we've put all the measures, safety measures in place. Of course, everybody was keeping, were following the developments in the city of Moscow. They were emulating the measures undertaken in Moscow. We are very thankful for the vaccination and the vaccination measures and the decree of the city of Moscow. It was a great push because very few people vaccinated, and now almost 45% of our people have been vaccinated. This number is increasing. It's a step in the right direction, and we are seeing this not only in Moscow but other cities and towns where Globus is operating. Speaking about transformation, it has already been mentioned. COVID did give a strong push to the e-commerce. We are an international company, so it was a challenge to us. At all our stores, we introduced e-commerce facilities, and there are major companies in Russia, Sberbank, Yandex, etc., and we are working with them closely, and all hypermarkets now are equipped with facilities to make orders. So 6% of our turnover e-commerce. E-commerce is not only about digitalization and transformation. It's also about analytics, call centers. We've noticed an interesting change as a hypermarket. Our strong arguments, our strong why people should move to a hypermarket. It's because we can offer a lot of goods. We offer such advantages online as well, so we're seeing positive developments, and we're looking with confidence into the future. Another change, the way clients buy. People are now more focused on healthy foods. It's part of sustainable development. So COVID has given us all an impulse, an impetus in this direction. Now this trend is very pronounced, and we're trying to meet our clients' demands as much as possible. Thank you, Mr. Shar, CEO of Globus Russia. Colleagues, all speakers have spoken. To wrap up this session briefly, we are in a difficult position, living through difficult times. I wanted to thank all panelists for coming to this session. I want to thank all people who are working in this country, in this city, in the retail trade, in catering, in food supplies. They're doing a very important work. They work in 24/7, 365 days a year. The challenges life is posing to us, we have been coping with them. The trends mentioned by our panelists, the retail, increasing demand for healthy foodstuffs, food products, a surge in online commerce, and an impetus was given slightly over a year ago, and this is going to be another key trend for the next 5-10 years to come. And emotions, all of us need emotions, and that's why shopping centers and farmers who talk to their customers directly, they try to create good emotions and to provide high-quality service. I want to thank all our speakers. This brings us to the end of our session, so thanks a lot.